Today, on Be Something Wonderful, you're not living in reality. You are streaming the version you assume. I am your host, Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. One of you mentioned, Tom, I get it, but I don't want to just live with my desires in my imagination. I want to experience them for real, in reality. Well, we're going to talk about this idea today and more. Remember, we make this distinction between real versus imaginary, but there is no difference, right? Nothing just exists only in your imagination. If you can imagine it, it exists. Imagination is the only reality. So it's not just imagination, it is reality. That's the paradox of the physical experience. That's why the ancients called the physical experience an illusion. Because it's not what it seems. It is as you are. It is as you imagine. You are streaming that version or reflecting or projecting that version of you in your reality. That exists only in your consciousness or awareness. It doesn't exist out there. So existence, I am, is the only reality. It's not just existing in your imagination. That's all there is. I am. So I want you to remember this, that you cannot imagine what's not real or that which does not exist. If you can imagine it, it's real or reality. That's why there's no difference between imaginary and real. Why do we know this? Because non-existence doesn't exist. You can't imagine the unreal or non-reality. Because non-reality doesn't exist. Unreal doesn't exist. There's only existence. There's only reality. You can imagine anything. All things are possible. You can even imagine your own physical death transition. But you cannot imagine not existing. Why? Because non-existence doesn't exist. That's why. By definition, it doesn't exist. Non-reality doesn't exist. There's only what's real. And it's all real. It's all imagination. It's all reality, here and now. Remember, existence is the great I am. It's the only reality there is, all that is. What Neville Goddard called imagination. We're the ones that make that distinction between imaginary and real. But it's all, if you can imagine it, it exists. Or you wouldn't even be able to imagine it. You wouldn't even be able to desire it. You wouldn't even be able to think of it. Do you see? You can't desire and imagine and want that which does not already exist, because non-existence doesn't exist. So, existence, the great I am, is that one conscious, self-aware, intelligent mind of God. That is what is meant by omniscient or all-knowing. One mind, one awareness, one consciousness must be that all-knowing mind. That is the all, that omniscient mind. It's infinite awareness and understanding and insight as all that is. That really is the true meaning, then, of unconditional love. Unconditional understanding. Unconditional insight or awareness as all that is. God, existence, I am, is love. That's what the ancients meant by unconditional love. What could this awareness, this omniscient, all-knowing awareness be anything but unconditional love? It has no conditions on it because it knows all. It's the greatest love story ever told. I am, I exist, I love. In 1 John 4:19, they say, we love him because he first loved us. Talking about God or I am, or that I am awareness. We love because he first loved us, because of that unconditional love that we are. That we can even imagine and love in the first place. That's what self-love really means. What does it mean? It means to know, to be conscious, to be aware of yourself as all that is. Therefore, love, I am, is not only infinitely powerful, it is all power, or all the power there is. That's what's meant by God is omnipotent, all power. The all-powerful law, or the Lord. All-knowing, omniscient, all power, omnipotent. And if that is true, if it's omniscient, all-knowing, and omnipotent, all power, then it must be omnipresent. It must be everything, everywhere, everyone, all at once, because there's nothing outside of it. And what can that everything, everywhere, all at once be? Anything else but love, the one power of all that is. That's powerful. So, therefore, since this one conscious, self-aware mind of God is all-knowing, all consciousness, all awareness, all the knowing there is, all the knowing that exists, and therefore, if it's all the knowing that exists, it's all the power that exists, the law itself, the omniscient and omnipotent love of God that works according to the law of what? The law of being, the law of I am. Or in other words, all that is. So God, love, existence, I am, must be omnipresent. It must be everything, everywhere, everything, everyone, everywhere, all at once. That's where that all comes from. Therefore, to assume something or someone you desire only exists in your imagination or is not real makes no sense. How can it make sense with what we know now? If you can imagine it, if you can desire it, it exists here and now. It's reality. It's real. There's only what's real. But then you say, okay, Tom, but where's my stuff? Right? In the words of Abraham Hicks, the metaphysical, Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, that non-physical. Where's my stuff? How do I get and manifest the money in the bank and the lover in my bed, as Abraham Hicks would say? Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. So you say, well, I don't just want an imaginary lover in my bed or an imaginary money in my bank, but again, you're making a distinction between what's real and what's imaginary. If you can imagine it, if you can desire it, it's real. The lover in your bed and the money in the bank is reality. Max Planck, the quantum physicist, gave us a hint, right, what this all means. He said this: all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. All matter. The physical stuff, the lover in the bed, the money in the bank, the improvement in health, the change in physical appearance, the job promotion, the new house, the new specific person, or the love that you want, all of that stuff, all matter, all physical experience originates and exists. In other words, it is from this one source, only by virtue of a force or a source. What is that force? What is that source? What is that power? Well, it must be love itself. It must be the law, the desire, the innate desire to exist, to be aware, to be conscious, and to know yourself as existence. That's the power. That's the unconditional love of existence. I am. I exist as all that is. All matter originates and exists. All physical experience originates and exists by virtue of that force, of your own desire, of your own innate desire, of that power that you are, that source that you are. The law works through you and as you. What's behind this force or power of desire? Well, this is where Max Planck continues. So he says, all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force or source or power the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind, the one mind of God, the great I am, the great source, the great cause, first cause. This is the mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. He identifies it as the matrix of all matter. That's the matrix. The physical experience is the reflection of the projection that streams from this matrix of one mind of God, this one power, this one love, this one existence itself. So your desires for the money, the lover, and the stuff that you want is the same force or source or power of creation. It's the same, only it's filtered and translated through your physically focused experience or mind. But what is the physical mind? It's just a perspective or viewpoint or vantage point in the one mind, the one conscious, intelligent mind of God. Wow, that's powerful. Your desire for the money in the bank, the lover in the bed, and other stuff that you want and desire. Your desire itself, your desiring, your wanting, is the force, is the source, is the power of creation, filtered and translated through your physically focused perspective or viewpoint or vantage point, or what we call physical mind. But it's all one mind. So that whole idea, we had this discussion about ego desires versus God desires. But remember, there's no distinction. It's the same distinction we try to make between real and imaginary. It's all reality. It's all real. It's all desires are desires of God or of source, of that one divine mind. That same source. All desire is the force or power that is unconditional love of I am. That's what desire is. It's love. It's the same force or source of all that is, of that one intelligent mind. Translated and filtered through a certain perspective or viewpoint that you take on as all that is. It's when, here's the distinction. Hear this today. It's when you desire it, whatever you want, as a condition to be fulfilled and to be loved. You desire it as a condition that if I have this, I'll be fulfilled. If I am this person, I'll be loved. That creates the idea of ego desires, or that desiring itself is ego. Creates the idea of lack or the experience of lack or separation from what you want. The specific desires are irrelevant. They don't determine anything. And desiring is not from ego, it's all God. It's that innate desire of consciousness to be conscious of itself, of awareness to be aware of itself as all it is. So God, existence, the one conscious, intelligent mind, the great I am, puts no conditions whatsoever on its love, on its power, on its desiring to know itself as source. But when we put conditions on it, we create that idea of the ego, of that separation. What is the ego, after all? It's a thought of separation. It's a thought of being separate from God or that one intelligent mind. It's a thought that I'm this puny, finite mind, battling it out here in the physical. That I'm separate from everything I want and desire. That's all that is. It doesn't exist. It's made up. It's a story. Ego is just a story of separation. It's a story of lack. Who you really are puts no conditions on any of it, because you are all of it. But you do. You put the idea that I'm manifesting it in time, and that it takes time. That I have to do processes and techniques to get it. That I've got to reprogram my subconscious mind, and then it has to accept it. That I got to go on mental diets, and I've got to struggle to think and feel better about a reality and a version of me that's not even my choice or preference. That's something that appears out there and undesired and unwanted. Remember, it's not about any of that. It's about owning your identity as all that is, owning your identity as the creator, owning your identity as I am God and there is no other. It's not about tweaking or moving any of that. Remember, to desire it, to imagine it, to assume it, is to be it and have it. There are no conditions whatsoever. It's unconditional. That's the whole definition of unconditional love. It's unconditional desire. It's unconditional wanting. Wow. You're not living in reality. You're not even living your life. You are reality. You are the life. I am the life. I am the way. I am the door. I am the light of the world. That's why the ancients had those I am affirmations over and over again. You are the matrix of all matter. All matter exists and originates by virtue of a force. What's that force? You as that desire. You're desiring itself. That love and power that you are as I am awareness is the force. And behind that force is you as that greater reality, as the great I am, as the divine, centered in the divine mind. As the center of one conscious and intelligent mind. You, streaming, reflecting, and projecting the version of you who you assume yourself to be. How do you do that? You do it by virtue of a force, or a power, or a source that we call desire. But that's love. It's the power of love. It's a desire, an innate urge, or an impulse to be aware or conscious of yourself as existence. It's the livingness of life to know itself as life or existence. It's the unconditional power of God or the law of being. Wow. It's only when you consciously put conditions on this power, on this force or source that you are. When you place conditions on that power, that desire, that love that you are, that wanting and that desiring, that you create an experience of lack and non-fulfillment and separation. I am as love, desire, and all power never changes. There are no conditions whatsoever. You're always that. There were never any conditions. Wow. So everything you want and desire, including the money in the bank, the lover in the bed, and everything else, all the other stuff that you want, exists only by virtue of a force or source or power. And that force or source or power is your wanting and desiring itself. Wow. Behind this force is the version of you that you assume is real or reality. Wow. The only question is, are you wanting it and desiring it as a condition to fulfillment? Hear this. Or are you wanting it and desiring it as an experience of that fulfillment that you are already? Wow. Of knowing and being aware and being conscious of yourself as the creator, as source, as all that is. That's the only difference. Do you see? The only question is, are you wanting and desiring it as a condition to fulfillment, or to be fulfilled, or to be loved? Or are you wanting it and desiring it as an experience of that fulfillment that you are? Of knowing and being aware and being conscious of yourself as that one creator, that one source, all that is. That's powerful. You're not living in reality. You're streaming a version you assume. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, be sure to check us out at the Tom Kearin YouTube channel. Our other YouTube channel, we're going to have a big video there. And later this month, in the month of May here, we're going to have our 5th live event on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. It's going to be our 29th live event. All other 28 lives are available for viewing on the membership channel, as well as dozens of other videos, specific content, exclusive content for the membership channel. So if you're interested, check it out in the link below. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, we'll see you soon.